Next up, here's part 2 of that conversation. You're going to love this. Thanks for joining us on The Rebuild.
Hey, Rebuild family. Welcome back to another episode of the Rebuild Talks with Tiffany. Listen, go catch part 1, okay, of this particular episode because you are going to love this series. You are going to love these conversations that I'm having. I'd like to welcome to the Rebuild Princess Dennis. Welcome, Princess.
Hi, Tiffany. And hi, Rebuild
I'm
family.
so glad that you could be with us. Now that I think about it, we've kind of been working on getting this conversation happening it's been a couple of months.
Yeah,
It's been a couple
yeah,
of months in the works.
absolutely.
But I just know that this is a conversation that so many people want and need to hear. Can you tell Rebuild family a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am a custom made to order outerwear designer. I make coats for women, and more specifically, I just recently added men to the conversation. So I make coats for both women and men. It is made to order, it is custom, and I'd love to have you.
Exciting, exciting. I mean, when people, and I'll link all your information below so that everyone can check it out. And I think that when people see your garments, they're going to be just so drawn in and so impressed. And something that's popping into my mind right now is especially because you're now venturing into men,
Yeah.
providing men's garments as well, men's outerwear as well. And I think
Yes.
about your original client who is a woman, and what's popping up into my mind is how often men typically have a more bespoke experience, right? So we're
Mm.
entering wedding season and
Yes.
everyone's about to rent
Mm-hmm.
tuxedos, and those tuxedos
Yeah.
are fitted in the things, and they're if it's not that, it's just their regular suits, even at the
Yes.
Macy's, they're getting a bespoke experience. And I love that you're providing that for women because women don't typically get that, like we
Yeah.
buy something off the rack. Maybe we'll run it down to the dry cleaners or the tailor,
Yeah. Mm.
maybe, to kind
Yeah.
of get that. So tell me a little bit about, I'd love to know a little bit about you wanting to create this type of, you mentioned being a co-creator and, your clients being a co-creator in their garment.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like why is that so important to you? Like what made you want to go that route?
So I also had to even distinguish the understanding of so in the fashion district or fashion industry, there is petite and then there's regular
Mhm.
pieces. And I hadn't had a real understanding. I'm not a petite individual, so I never had those concerns or even thoughts. It wasn't until I um solicited a model who was shorter than me, and I was working with her, and my pattern maker was like, "Well, why would you choose someone so short?" And I was just like, "Oh, I mean, she's cute, like, I wouldn't mind her wearing," but she was like, "We have to change all of the garment measurements for her, like, this isn't," and because I had already asked her, and I'm just like, "Okay, we're gonna move forward with her," but it made me, like, do more research because I knew that, prior to when I was doing research on, like, who would be my market, I knew that plus size women as well as petite women had struggles in finding clothes that perfectly fit
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And I thought of that and I was just like, huh, if people are able to choose their garment, I could also help and work with petite women. And because I've never even thought of petite women or adding them in, because now it's all like at one point, my company was just for plus size women,
Mm.
but now it's for all women in general. Um, I was just like, that's a market I'm missing out on. So it developed into a thought process of this is not just my business. It You're somehow coming in as a partner as
Mhm.
well because I'm making such a piece. And because I also had the background in art, oftentimes when people commissioned me, you're telling me what you would like and I'm creating it and adding my touch. So I saw my fashion transition in the same aspect of art. of creating
Got
art.
it.
And so even when it comes to the point where my stuff is, like I'm creating small batches of mass produced items, I still would like some aspect where you can, like you said, with the men's tailoring, there are like individuals who will still have a seamstress on standby or a tailor on standby that can fit it. I would love to still have that in my company because quite a few of my customers have been petite women, and they would have been completely like, I remember, I don't know if you remember Tabitha from Momentum. She was just like, oh, when you make clothing, I'm gonna get, and I would be like, no, no, Tab, you're not. You have enough options for yourself.
Mhm.
Like, you won't be one of my customers. And lo and behold, she was one of my customers. And she always brings it up to
Right,
me
right. The
because,
joke's on you.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
the coat's on her. Yep.
right, listen, and like, because she wound up actually getting a duster. In the summertime, I do like
Ah,
dusters, silk
yes, yes.
dusters for women because you can't really wear a coat. Yeah, and I had to figure out like what could be an option. So yeah, I had to do a duster, and I mean, those are things. Her measurements are drastically different. Those are the things that I hadn't thought about, and those are the things that a lot of fashion companies aren't thinking about because they're not a large part of the population. So in my mind, it was always just like, okay, how can I create it so that the customer also feels included in this as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. Well, I definitely love the way that you help to make people feel included, and I think that you probably have a way of thinking about things. I feel like creatives have a way of thinking about things that the rest of us don't think about.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important. Um, I'm thinking right now about your commitment to sustainability. Talk to me, talk to us a little bit about, what happens in the fashion industry, what happens with garments. Give us a little bit of background because I think people don't understand the implications of their
Yeah.
imprint. They don't realize how far
Yeah.
their imprint extends and how much damage it
Hmm.
does to this beautiful earth. So tell, it
Yeah.
could talk to us a little bit about that.
And it's tough too because I mean, with the fashion industry, and it depends on the brand. If my jeans are $500 to $600, I'm not gonna wanna make it to the point where you can get them for 150 because that then will you buy them for $600 again? I'm gonna burn it.
Mm,
But it's not advertised. And I mean, now you have organizations trying to hold companies accountable. So like companies like Zara or H&M, they'll have an option where you can bring in your lightly used garment, and then someone else can repurchase it. There's like Farm Rio does that
yeah.
too. H&M does that, and then think about ways to recycle, or they'll put it in the label, this was recycled, because people are because it is destroying other people's countries, and we unfortunately have the ability to do so
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible to do.
I was
But
mhm.
also,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, but also when you think about it, there's cost of living is expensive. So, and if you want something nice, I understand. Like I too, before I learned about certain things, and granted, I still shop at these places as well, but I'm particular about what I buy. And I also am not like, sometimes people could buy things that are on trend and that you'll never wear it again. Like I very much purchase pieces that are classic pieces or pieces that I think are interesting, that I look at the fabric content. Also, because there are a lot of the times things are made with synthetic fabrics that are very harmful for the environment. So, I mean, there are a plethora, like also people don't know that there's certain fabrics that can cause you cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of information we don't know.
I think and there's a lot that we're not willing to look up and engage with because if we did,
Yeah,
we'd know more about it. I mean,
yeah,
now is um the time to like really look at the production of the garments that we wear and understand. I think
yeah,
that people don't understand where garments end up and how, I think people throw things in the garbage and they just think that it goes into like the land of nothingness. And
Right.
it's
Right.
it
Right.
doesn't work. It
Mhm.
doesn't work quite like that.
Mhm.
So everybody do some
Yeah.
research, y'all. Look up, find out, like find out the life cycle of a garment and what happens when you throw it away. And I'm
Correct.
incredibly passionate about the environment, about sustainability, about our resources. My daughter
Yeah.
went to a school that was what they focused on for the first 6 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like it's a not well a well kept secret that this kind of stuff.
Mm.
I'm just passionate about it. I grew up in a
Nice.
time where we were encouraged to put the toothpaste on the toothbrush and turn the water off. Like, stop having this water running.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
about the
True.
cost. It is about these
Yeah.
resources aren't renewable. So yeah, so
Correct. No, it's
we could
true.
go down a
And
whole rabbit hole with that one.
no, it's true. It's true. But you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. And I mean, and that is why I make at the moment one of one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, my footprint isn't helping to destroy the earth. And eventually, but be making one of one and working a full-time job
Mhm.
is a lot.
Yeah.
And eventually, it will not be one of one,
Right.
but for right
Yeah.
now,
But also I
either
think
way, I
by when that occurs, you've already done the work to figure out how to do this responsibly. And that kind of
yeah.
leads me to my next question. Like, this is the perfect transition point. If you were starting all over again, if you were starting from the beginning, what would you do in your first year of business today?
Oh, I would hmm, I would probably get not probably, I would get someone in marketing
Mm,
who could assist me in navigating what people want to know about your brand. I think that's social media is very new um to me, and just the understanding of it and how brands use social media to market themselves. I always had a notion because I didn't see social media growing up. So in my mind, I'm just like, people just want to see the finished product. But no, people would like to get to know
yeah,
you because you are the
yeah,
brand. And being more visible, like I'm a pretty private person. Certain things you won't see me crying. Not to anyone who, but you won't see a certain level of vulnerability from me, but I'm working through the steps because the steps were not
right.
easy, to get to this
Mhm,
point. And when people see your steps, they can understand then the value of the
right,
product,
right.
so that's what I would definitely do. Be more vulnerable, because I got my boxes from China. A lot were destroyed. Seeing that, people need to, like, people want to see your ups and downs,
Absolutely,
you
absolutely. Yeah,
know?
I think that
Um,
consumers feel a greater sense of responsibility and connection to brands.
yeah,
Right now, we're in a time where um, your message and who you are as a brand can convey trust. And when
yeah,
a consumer feels like they can trust you, and they can only trust you if they see you and your
yeah,
practices,
yeah,
when that happens, you'll have a client for life. You'll have a customer for
yeah,
life. But I totally understand. Also, I know that for me personally, I want to support brands that are aligned with my values. And
yeah,
so that's the reason that it's important for me to see what the brands are doing, because I don't there's some brands that I'm like, if I see the behind the scenes, I'm like, oh, so this is how you treat your employees. Oh, I'm not interested. Well, this is how you treat your
correct.
sourcers. Oh, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
I totally
yeah,
understand where you're coming from. And I do know that that vulnerability plays a really, really um, big part in it. But even thinking about your brand, how do you make sure that your brand stays distinct and
mm,
specific to you and specific to your vision? And then also, I guess a
yeah,
little part of that question is, even in you kind of transitioning and expanding sizes and expanding your clientele, how has your vision changed since day one?
So listen, I like dope. I like dope things. Like I like things that somebody would think, like, granted that is an old school term, dope,
Yeah.
but like that is when I see something that's fly, like I mean that or even like my vision of my cults are like your
Yeah.
art. And so because I always create from a sense of like artistic, like whether even if it's a simple silhouette, the fabric is going to be fly.
Mhm.
The fabric is going to be a
Yeah.
statement. Like, so whatever I'm creating, oh, you going to see
Yeah.
this. You going, whether it's on me or somebody else, you hands down, it's not going to be something that you're going to easily pass by.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's always how I create. I create with the notion of this is legit.
Yeah.
When it comes to the expanding the sizes and the shortening and the petite and the like, I realized that like even for me, I've expanded in sizes. I'm a grown woman.
Mhm.
I've like you want things and I hate when those moments I've purchased something and now I can't fit
Yeah.
it. Like but you want things. Now granted, I do have my newer coats are pretty cinching.
Yeah.
So, but I do make things in general that are forgiving
Mhm.
because that's what I would
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, like I create art. The best way to say is I create art for the
I
body.
love that. I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. I'm thinking about, and you've mentioned it before we've talked about this. So, you and I know each other through a personal development program, Momentum Education, that is in a few cities across the country. And we met in that community, and a lot of the work in that community, and a lot of personal transformational work and personal growth work is about rethinking and thinking again. And so I love that you are committed
Agreed.
to that as a company founder, that you said, like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll think about this a different way. Maybe I'll expand my thinking because, we update our phones and we update our
Sure.
wardrobes, and
Yeah.
we get to update our thinking and expand our thinking too. So I love the way that, even when you're talking about the pattern, your conversation with the pattern maker, and just really like looking at the way that you think. Um, and making the necessary changes and modifications to
Yeah.
that, just like you're making to your garments. I think that is just amazing to me, and I
Mhm.
think it's so important. And
Thank
I think it's
you.
so consistent with who you are. I think it's so consistent
Thank you.
with
I
who you
appreciate
are.
that. Mm. Mhm.
I do I have one more question. And it's kind of along the same lines. I want to know, what is it that you think, having been in business for these years, for a number of years, what is it that you think people need to do to be successful at business and
Mm.
be successful in this industry?
I would definitely say take the critiques. There
Feedback.
are individuals. Yeah. Yeah. There are individuals in this world that know more than
Yeah.
you. And it's a cuz
The horror. I don't know why so many people walk around thinking that they know it. And I think to myself, if you know everything, we're in dire trouble. If this one person knows it all, we're in trouble.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I agree. And yeah, listen, you don't know what you don't
Mhm.
know. Like
Mhm.
I I think that for me, I made a lot of
Yeah.
mistakes in my business and I'm still learning, but I'm willing to take the correction. I'm willing to take the critique. I'm willing to learn from people who are younger than me or are new in this. Like I am a seed always looking to grow. And I would implore people, put yourself in also put yourself in uncomfortable positions because that is how you grow. Do things that scare you. The men's line isn't something I ever saw for myself, but it was due to men bringing it up. And I'm like, oh, this is a way I could grow. It's a little uncomfortable. I'm still learning my market, but if you don't do it, you won't ever win.
Yeah.
So I would suggest people put themselves in positions that make them uncomfortable, because when you are and not uncomfortable as far as safety, but uncomfortable in the sense of it's pushing you to
Yeah.
grow. Put yourself in those positions to grow. I'm sorry, Tiffany. Am I answering the question?
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
yes,
Yes, you are.
okay.
You are.
Because I got conflated with
No,
something else.
I
Anyway, yeah, but just put yourself in positions to
mhm,
grow, to
mhm.
learn, and do things that scare you.
So I guess the other part of that question, well, because you brought it up, do you have a mentor in the industry, or do you
So I
mentor
don't necessarily.
anyone?
So I don't mentor
Mhm.
anyone, but I do have. There is a young lady. Her name is Matilda, and I don't want to get her brand incorrect. I think it's Awoke fashion. So she's not necessarily, she's a new person I just recently met. She makes gorgeous leather bags, and also makes gorgeous like puffer
Mhm.
coats that are really interesting. And I've been working with her because I would love for her to be someone who's like my mentor. But right now I have entrepreneurship groups that I go to, and I get nuggets from different people. So I don't have to have a mentor per
Mhm.
se, but I have different individuals who I learn from and I am growing
Yeah.
from. But yes, ideally I would. So right now we've met once, and we're going to meet again in May. So I would
I
love
love
for
it.
her
I
to be my mentor.
absolutely love
Hmm.
that. I love that. I really believe in mentorship. It's so important to me. And so I love that that you're willing to do that. And also I think that I like to see the evolution of fashion and the evolution of brands, especially women-led, women-owned, women-founded brands. I love to see like just that evolution and that expansion. And I think that that's going to be at the end, your client, like me, we're the ones that win when you decide to think outside of the box, when you decide that you're
Correct.
going to um, create a garment that, suits women and really gives them what it is that they truly, truly desire. Just understanding that this is the
Yeah.
garment that's going to live in their closet for years and years and years.
Correct. Hmm.
Thinking about the longevity of that. So I love that so much. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I I just can't thank you enough for coming on. I think that people are
Mm-hmm.
going to have a understanding of the fashion industry that they didn't consider. I think that people are
Yeah.
going to look at their garments differently after seeing this conversation. And also, I hope that people are willing to take a risk and willing to take a chance on something. Be courageous. Be courageous.
Yeah. Hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, so thank you so, so, so much for coming. We
Thank you,
definitely have to
Tiffany.
have another conversation because there's some things that we need to talk about. I mean, we need to talk about, I'd love to do some more talk about um growing up in New York with immigrant parents
Right.
and the things that we had to go through and the
Right.
mindset shift from,
Mhm.
leaving your house, which is essentially for them that the country that they came from. And then the moment you go
Correct.
outside the door, you're like, oh, I'm in Brooklyn, like it. So let's definitely have
Agreed.
another conversation. Thank you so much for joining us,
Absolutely.
Princess.
Thank you, Tiffany. This was awesome. Yes,
Absolutely.
you make your guests feel like this is a comfortable we're having coffee, like a comfortable space. Like I loved
Yes,
it.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Rebuild
Yes.
family, I hope that you go ahead, comment, subscribe, like this podcast episode, and make sure you share this. Share this episode with someone who has a dream that they've maybe put on the side. They have a dream that's been chasing them that they refuse to acknowledge, but maybe they need to, or maybe that someone is actually you. But go ahead and share this episode with someone new. I look forward to seeing you all the next time. Thank you for joining The Rebuild Talks with Tiffany. Oh, so
It was great.
good.